Malibu. Oh, this is daily. Oh, this is daily. Wonder when the people will pull up. Let's get the things on up. Maybe I should put some music on since the people want to take their sweet ass time. It don't ever be nothing. It don't ever be nothing. It don't never be nothing important. Never nothing important. Okay. Hi. Welcome. How's it going, Morgan? Welcome to the space. I'm on the YouTube, of course, but I was like, let me hop on the Instagram so that I can catch a couple more of y'all. But happy Friday. Happy Friday, girl. We made it. Oh my God. Never could have made it. Happy Friday to you as well, my sister. How are you feeling? How are you doing? I'm just pulling up in the crib, so forgive me if I'm a little scantily clad, you know. But yeah, no, I literally hightailed it. I was supposed to get home a little bit earlier, but there was an impromptu little after work drink situation and work, and yeah, of course, after working for like 7-8 hours, of course I want to spend more time with the rest of y'all at a damn bar an hour away from home. That's what I want to do. That's all I want to do with my Friday when I can finally be free. When I can finally be free, I feel great because it's Friday, girl, and that is more than enough reason. I know that's right. Yes, I definitely share the sentiments. I'm here. I'm so ready for a very relaxing weekend. Hopefully, the weather will be somewhat kind to us, but I feel like whenever it is that I'm off are the days where the weather is literally cataclysmic. Like it's the worst. It's so like out of control. But I'm not gonna speak life into that. I'm speaking life into a very positive, great weather kind of weekend. You know what I mean? Yeah, because we deserve it. I'm gonna hook up my charger, my computer, so I can charge her up real quick. But yeah, what do you think about what's been not the colleague outings on a Friday? Girl, took me the hell out. But thankfully, I like my job. I love my job, and I love the people that I work with. So like, I mean, it wasn't necessarily like it was annoying because I just wanted to be home and do my thing. You know what I mean? Like not necessarily because of the people. I actually vibe with the people a lot. I work at a great place. Our work culture, our company culture is amazing. Our rapport with each other is great. But I'm like, girl, not on a motherfucking Friday, okay? Girl, I'm not trying to connect with y'all. I done connected with y'all since Monday, okay? I need me time. I need flirt time. And so that's what we came back home and fucking got, okay? But while everyone is still trickling in, because one thing about my lives, everybody pours in just as I'm getting ready to give up. Just when I'm at the last, the last bits of my strength, the last ounce of my strength is when everyone decides to pull up. But while we wait, I would love to know, what do you think about all of the news we've been hearing for the past week or so? Literally the past 2 days, not even really the past 24 hours, but going beyond that. Like there's just so much that's been going on. The Hi, Milo. Welcome to the Yungfleur Life Space, babe. I'm Yungfleur. We are live. It's Friday. I'm so happy about it. The week has ended, okay? Because at the end of the week gotta end, bitch. And here we are. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, my Lord Jesus. Demna News was wild, was it not? I feel like caring, like, this could be a good decision. This could not. But for the time being, Kering looks like they are moving hella crazy. Like it just looks wild. And so it makes sense why the investors pull out, and how they had like, what was it, like an 11% decline from in sales or invest like 11%, what was it, decline in investments or whatever immediately after the news was announced. And I mean, like I said, it's not even just the fact that Demna's there, because Demna is a powerhouse, but like, I do think that there are some detractors that don't necessarily support what Demna does and also feel like he's about to run shit into ruin. And aside from that, even if he's good, it's kind of like the Blue Marine situation all over again. Exactly what I was warning about. The thing is, the more you switch hands, the more you shift leadership. I don't know who just joined into the YouTube, but welcome, babe. Make yourself known. Happy Friday to you. Welcome to the Yungfleur Live Space. I'm Yungfleur. We are live and we are here to talk about some fashion business news. Because Lord, and a thumbs up. God bless you. You must be one of my people. You must be someone from the garden. You must be gang. You gotta be. Just as a reminder to y'all on the Instagram, though, I am on the YouTube. The YouTube is the official place where we should all be. But I'll be here on Instagram because this is where all of my following is. Trying to get y'all over. Hey, Morgan. Welcome to the Yungfleur Live, girl. Thanks for pulling up. Okay, Q. She on the TV. If y'all could make the migration over to the YouTube, that would be so fab. Y'all would be such fabulous people for that. And so I'm going to pin the comment. How are you? Hope you are feeling better. Y'all. Not for nothing, my stomach is still like low-key aching through the day, but it's better. It's better than I felt last night. Oh my God. I was on the ground, literally on the floor in pain last night, y'all. Literally on the floor in pain. Okay, heading over to YouTube right now. I appreciate you so much, Morgan. I'll see you on the Yungfleur. I'll see you on the YouTube, Yungfleur. And Milo, please do the same if you don't mind, so we could be in our official home. My abs are popping. I ain't even been in the gym in like 3 months, girl. I'm just hungry. I just ain't ate. I'm just not eating good. Um, when I tell you I just got through this flu, child, oh my God. No, girl. Literally, I went to a cafe. I got my work done. I was prepping notes for the live last night. Literally, this is no caps, y'all. Because if I'm not gonna be on, I'm not gonna be on, and I'm not gonna be on. Now the Morgans are taking over the period. Not for nothing. I love when we've got the two Morgans in the space. Big Morgan energy. Okay, I live for it. Like, of course, wear y'all mask on the train. Yeah, because people are nasty and they be coughing with their mouth open. And giving them a bitchy face is not enough for them to feel embarrassed. People don't feel embarrassed. This is 2025. Shame is nothing but a fleeting concept. Okay. Hi. Welcome. Milo, make your way if you don't mind, so we can all be on one place and I can look at one screen. Oh my God. But yes, that cinnamon roll took me the fuck out, girl. I finished my work. I was like, let me sit down and let me go get me a little cinnamon roll. I deserve. I haven't had one in a minute. I'm feeling real sweet. My sweet tooth is at an all-time high. And I ate that thing. I went to bed, girl. I was like, let me set my alarm so it could wake me up just in time for the live. I woke up and it was a smooth 10, maybe 36. That's when I saw Morgan Lewis's DM saying that she was waiting for me to get on the live at like 10 o'clock. And I was like, child, I don't have anything left in me. I don't have any Pepto-Bismol and I need her. I'm literally like, I can feel this cinnamon roll working through my body. And I did not know what it was because I ate Chick-fil-A. So I'm like, is it the homophobic chicken? Is it the transphobic chicken? Is it the queer-phobic chicken that is the culprit? And then as I get eventually, I try to, drink a little ginger ale, thinking that was gonna help a bitch out. Wrong again. All it did was make me nauseous. All it did was make me nauseous as hell. And so eventually, had to get it out my system. And then went right back to bed because I was no good last night. After 7 o'clock, your boy was clocked out. Clocked the fuck out. Okay, thank you. Thank you for pulling up, Milo. I thought it was the homophobic chicken. Hi, Milo. I appreciate you. Let me take my earphones out because these are no longer needed. Welcome, family. We in this bitch, okay? But yeah, so I really, really apologize to y'all because I was very excited to talk about this news and finally stop talking about Fashion Week. And it really did me in. Let me put a shirt on and get decent. Right. So, what have we come to talk about tonight, right? There's a lot going on. Y'all. It's looking real scary for the caring people. So, let's talk about it. Let's start from the top, right? Demna, how do you pronounce that last name? Y'all know how to pronounce it? Demna, how to pronounce? Because I ain't never knew. Give us Aaliyah. Give us Aaliyah. It's a lot going on, right? So Demna Gvasalia, right? Former, founder and head of Vetements, and then eventually became creative director of Balenciaga. And I did not know like, time really flies. Like when even what's his name? Olivier Rostand was talking about how he has been at Balmain for like over 10 years. I was like, has it really been 10 years already? But sure enough, so now after his Balenciaga collection, which was from what a lot of the people are saying, very lackluster, he has now been appointed as the creative director of Gucci. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. And I'm really interested in seeing what the people think about this transition. As you know, Sabato De Sarna was appointed as creative director of Gucci somewhere around, was it 2022, 2023? But all in all, he he's barely been in the house before he was kicked the fuck out. And I think it was all a part of, honestly, Gucci spinning its wheels as it struggles to do whatever it can to maintain relevancy and, more importantly, boost up their profits. So, according to what I see here online, Salvatore De Sarno was creative director for Gucci from 2023 to 2025. He left the role in February. And during this time, it was a really interesting time. I mean, there really was like a lot of this, lot of hubbub around him ushering in this new era of Gucci, right? This whole Ankara collection, this Ankara red, really making the colors like a statement, which I think was something that we saw really take off for Bottega under, what was it, Mathieu Blasi? Or was it Mathieu Blasi? Or whoever was there before. Was it Daniel Lee? I think it was Daniel Lee before, because then he went to Burberry. Yeah, and like really championing this idea of making colors and certain design elements a statement and a marketing ploy to really get people to look at Gucci in a new light, to have this resurged like hype around the brand. And unfortunately, I think the excitement for Sabato at the brand was as fleeting as it was. Like, it kind of disappeared as quickly as it arrived. You know what I mean? Like, there definitely were people trying to boost things up, but I feel like, honestly, a lot of that was just like pay for play. It was giving payola. Like, it wasn't really giving like the people were really excited for the pieces. They weren't. I mean, everything just looked like so pared down when Salvatore De Sarno was there, right? It was a lot about building a wardrobe, creating this like full-fledged wardrobe that people could buy into. But unfortunately, everything was just so rehashed, or kind of just like lacking really like a sense of like this new direction that they claimed we were getting under Sabato. And so unfortunately, like, as much as they tried to push the bags and give us a new signature bag, make the heels a moment, make the color the moment, make the marketing around it all the moment, it just never stuck. Like, Sabato, I feel like a lot was against them. The wardrobe itself was not really compelling. Sabato De Sarno as well, arriving, I believe he was someone that was already working with the brand. And this was, hi Tink, welcome to the space. I'm on the YouTube, baby, just a reminder, but I'm glad to see you here on the Instagram. Happy Friday to you, girl. We made it. So pat yourself on the back for that alone, okay? But Sabato, he's also not a superstar designer. So even while that is a trend now, that, of design, of brands being, really defined by the designer, and being, and a lot of the collections being a lot more speaking from a personal place, from the designer's own kind of sartorial preferences, their own lifestyle. We think about an Alessandro Michele, right? Who was the last big hit, the last time Gucci got something right. And that was because, as we see in Valentino, that was all in him. That was all Alessandro's like vibe, his whole pantheon of design, coming from the way he lived his life and dressed himself, and the way that he kind of expressed things was what we saw directly channeled into the Gucci ethos during his time there. Unfortunately, I think the sales were going. I mean, I do think that they took a dip after a moment, but to me, that wasn't necessarily cause for them to completely drop him. But hey, I ain't there in the Gucci offices, so who knows what else was going on behind the scenes. But I feel like he was still hitting his stride, even up until the Gucci Balenciaga collaboration, which, now we know to be such a funny forecasting of what was to come. Because I'm like, not y'all auditioning a nigga in the middle of y'all having somebody already there, but whatever. And yeah, like afterwards, it just never seemed to have that same hit, that same firepower that they did with Alessandro there at the brand. He really understood how to market product, how to create really engaging moments through products that also married commercialism, and really in a way that it's almost reminiscent of a Tom Ford, where like, the man is the brand and vice versa, and is really able to create these narratives out of the product that are really fun and really hot and really sexy and make people want to know more, and more importantly, buy more. Unfortunately, when Sabato De Sarno came in and Alessandro Michele was out, which I really still think was such a poor decision on Gucci and Kering's part, and letting Sabato De Sarno in instead. And he kind of just flubbed the thing. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of like really positive reviews you can see about his collections. Enjoy those. I was not one of those people. I was not one of those people that was gung-ho for the Sabato era. Although I did learn about the song Ancora, which was one of the best things that came out of that for me, because that shit is still my bop. I still get my life to what's his name's remix of it. But yeah, it just never curdled over to commercial success, unfortunately. Did we check on Hetty? Babe, I just know Hetty's gonna rear his head somewhere. He always does. So let him rock. Because whenever Hetty does something at a house, I just get it's just very exhausting, because he does the whole wipe the slate clean, and then here comes like his aesthetic all over again. Very much like Alessandro, where it's like this is more personal to his own story than it is more so like a meeting of the minds, or adapting to whatever the luxury house is known to give before he arrives. But yeah, so now that Sabato is out and we have Demna announced, like, this is really a quick turnover of creative directors, which, I can imagine to investors is really concerning, because it really shows a lack of confidence. It shows a lack of strength. It shows a lack of continuity, first and foremost, and really puts things in a place where it's like, does the brand know what they're doing? You know what I mean? Especially when you can sense you're hiring people who aren't turning a profit. It all just looks really desperate. And that's why it's like, for me, I just imagine being a large conglomerate or just a really big brand, or specifically a brand that is public, right? That has like investors from the outside buying into the brand, and supporting it financially. This kind of thing can be very scary. You know what I mean? When you're trying to save yourselves, but you're not really, but you're also trying to figure things out. And there's something just very organically of the market that comes with that. That's very anti-capitalistic, frankly. You know what I mean? When you're trying to figure out what's going on, you do have to make some mistakes in the process. But unfortunately, investors are not A&R. They want to see the bottom line. And on that bottom line, there better be more coin than we saw last year. And if it ain't about that, girl, you can miss me. The loyalty is gone, with a lot of investors. Not every investor matches that profile, but a lot of them do. You know what I mean? And the more, and Alessandro was really like, I feel like Alessandro was there was like a break that happens with him getting there. I'm looking at the Instagram screen, like y'all are not all over here. But you know when Alessandro arrived with his quirk, with his eccentricity, with him injecting so much of his personal energy into what the Gucci ethos was about at that time, it definitely was a break away from, the brand leaning into itself, and spinning around on its own traditions solely, and really taking a chance on, once again, this eccentric that had his own style and method of doing things, and buying into that, and really trusting into his way of doing things. And in the end, it feels like Gucci was as much Alessandro as Alessandro was Gucci, at least under the public eye. So when you remove someone like that, who I really think that Gucci still should have given Alessandro time, especially with what he had done. Similar to how, I feel like Balmain has really given Olivier so much trust and so much energy over time to really take things in a path that makes sense for him, even if they're not the most comfortable with it, even if it is something that is so foreign from what they're used to. You know what I mean? All the selfies and the parties and the celebs schmoozing and the cheekbones and the duck lips and all of that was so not, classic heritage French fashion, but they went for it. They went for it with him. Also having, a designer of, who's also a person of color, whether he knows it or not, child. It was really something new and also something pivotal. But what they did was that they stuck with him. You know what I mean? They trusted in him. They trusted in the way that he handled things. Even if it was something that was unprecedented for the brand, they stuck with it. And that is something that Gucci did not do. And at the end of the day, Alessandro got his kicks. Cause don't we recall when Gucci made their announcement, or they were doing their thing and building their press buzz. He fucking laid out that Valentino lookbook right in the middle of all of the Gucci news like booms. Oh, I think it was when they were announcing their show, and he dropped it in the middle like boom. Gucci, never heard of her. Gucci. What's that, babe? I don't know. We don't know no Gucci around here. It's nothing but Valentino, babe. That's all I know. That's all I run with. It's Valentino gang. And sure enough, he pulled up with the collection that I think people are starting to like more and more. And once again, people are understanding that Gucci aesthetic was Alessandro. He's not bringing Gucci to Valentino. Alessandro pulled Alessandro out of Gucci and brought it to Valentino. And so now, following Sabato De Sarno there, who really just didn't have a lot of personality. You know what I mean? Like with Alessandro there for, the fickle memory of Gen Z, for the fickle memory of fashion, like what we know is Gucci under Alessandro. And unfortunately, Sabato, and for all of, the work that he's done beforehand, like he just does not match that energy, that vibe. And so unfortunately, you can't buy into Sabato. You can only buy into his pieces, and his pieces weren't really given like that. So what is the convincing factor aside from the brand being Gucci? There's so many other brands we can buy into now. Like, ain't nobody pressed. Nobody is pressed. So at the end of the day, if they don't have, I feel like Alessandro left a bit of a hole for the brand where Sabato was not able to fill that. I don't think he had any plans to fill that. He's not one of them girls. He's not one of them ones. He does not give main character energy. Frankly, the way that he presents himself. So the way that he presents himself. And so now we have, them going to Demna, which, at the end of the day, I saw, a great fashion critic, commentator, content creator, Kiki Agbor was saying, or I believe it was Kiki. He was saying like, Gucci needs at this moment, they don't, unfortunately, after Alessandro Michele, the most notable, one of the last notable moments in the house's history, they can't go back to a nobody, and a proverbial nobody. And by that, I mean somebody who's not a big superstar designer. They can't go to somebody that no one's heard of anymore. They need somebody with a definitive voice that will really make people ready to be led by that person, that will make people really want to know what's coming. You know what I mean? Just off of the strength of that person being there, they'll be like, okay, something's going to happen. Like, I love this designer, so I'm going to follow them where they go. Sabato is not that. He didn't have the time to become that, unfortunately. And so now, they can't go back to just getting whoever. They can't hire whoever was like, working with the brand on the low key, on the humble, nameless. They need a name. They need a blockbuster name. Or at least that's the tactic that they want to take to compete. And so with Balenciaga being a brand that's undercarrying along with Gucci, it just made sense, I guess, for them to pull Demna to become creative director. Now, it's really interesting to me because this also ties into Versace as well, because we're going to talk about Versace. But it's just interesting that, for a lot of these brands, like, their final collections are so unceremonious. You know what I mean? Like the announcement of their departure for the brand from the brand comes after, you know, them showing. Like Fashion Week barely ended. It ended on what, the 11th? And these people put out collections that we did not know were going to be their last ones. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Balenciaga is still due to show a couture collection somewhere around July, and then following that, he'll be done. Demna at Balenciaga before his transition over. And not for nothing, the way we seen these selfie pics from Demna at Balenciaga and Dario for Versace is given like, did y'all just find out the news when we did? Because why are these photos so damn quick? What's with the bathroom selfie? Very weird. But yeah, Demna brings with him, you know, really a mastery of commercialism. Say what you want, say what you like, say what you don't, but he knows how to create a buzz around product and get people to want to talk about the product, to want to look at the product, to want to buy the product in a way that Sabato literally never did. Not one season that he pulled up in that bitch. What's this, Milo? I feel like it does make sense a bit though. I feel like they need that. I feel like that need. I feel like they sells up, so they need a so they need an influential designer to do that, and Demna was a great choice. Yeah, he knows how to build a buzz around product, and people follow Demna because he's Demna. People buy into the Balenciaga and just the same way that they did into the Vetements because of the cultural relevance that it has, because of the logomania of it all, because of even just the fact that like his designs become these visible markers within themselves, you know, like the knife boot, that's there, whether there's a logo or on it or not, it's become such a staple of his brand. It's all right, boo, I couldn't read a damn thing, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the time I'm able to figure out y'all's which I meant to say, but every so often y'all got me lost in the sauce, so it's all good. Editing is our friend, retyping is our friend. But yeah, that's why, you know, it makes sense for Demna to be there. He knows how to make a product sell, he knows how to build a buzz, and he knows how to do that kind of thing consistently. I just feel like, once again, it just shows a lack of confidence and a lack of direction on the outside, though, to investors who are buying into this thing. And that's why at this point, I think there's been what, like a 26%, 26.2% decrease. Don't quote me on it. So brand revenue was down 26% in the third quarter and down 20% the 26% in the third quarter of 2024. Carrying shares fell 12% after Gucci announced that Demna would be there. So this is what the Barclays analysts are saying. They said, we think that at this stage, the announcement brings as much risks as opportunities. And as Hypebeast says, to conclude their write-up on it, in order to find success, Demna will need to effectively combine his famously provocative fashion taste with Gucci's elevated style to incite shoppers to spend across Europe, the United States, and China, where the brand has struggled to make sales since former creative director Alessandro Michele's departure 3 years ago. But then the thing about that is that when they talk about trying to encourage people to spend in Europe, the US, and China, especially China, who has really started to kind of like offload and minimize, excuse me, their financial support for a lot of the brands that they were going so hard for, these same brands that were going so hard to show in these places and market towards the Chinese demographic. Now them folks don't want to spend that damn money. So now what are you going to do? You invested all of your funds in one group, or all of your efforts into one group, thinking that just because they were going to spend money, like these are still human beings. Like that's the thing about like the analysts and counting the numbers. I'm like, yes, it's a market. And yes, you know, in this system, y'all group entire peoples into quote unquote demographics and try to study their behavior. But this is exactly what gets y'all fucked up when these people don't want to spend no more. You know? But all in all, like, they analysts are saying that Demna is a risky pick for a much larger label like Gucci with its reputation for timeless elegance. And that in itself is also the challenge. That is why, as successful as Demna has been, you know, he also has on the flip side, immediately after that, the fact that what he does with his brand is very can be very cacophonous, can be very chaotic at times, especially for people, for investors and analysts who are still, you know, working from the track record of the fashion industry. You know, a lot of what's happening right now is very new and very recent. You know what I mean? So they're still building research on how all of this works and how it all translates to the bottom line. But before that, you know, the preceding history of that, Gucci has always been a brand about creating timeless elegance, quote unquote, and operating in a way that luxury houses do traditionally. Am I the only one over mainstream fashion? Oh, I'm absolutely. It's been clipped. Hey, CK, I didn't even know you was in the space. Thanks for joining. I would appreciate it if y'all give me a thumbs up. Please, please, please. Don't make me say it again, because you know I will. Yeah, I feel like mainstream fashion in general has gotten really blah because they're paying it's just all about press and marketing to make everyone seem like, you know, aren't we having so much fun? Aren't we having such a fun time? Thanks for the thumbs up. They want everyone to feel like, oh, we're having the time of our life. And I'm like, there's only so many ambassadors and parties and gifting initiatives that you can do to try to sell to people who can't afford these things, who are splitting their budgets up, you know, can only afford one luxury bag a season. Thanks for the other thumbs up. Y'all are the best. There's only so much riling people up until it's like, yo, we don't have the funds to do this, and we're being selective with our money, and you are not the brand that we want to buy into and spend our money on. So sorry. Yeah. JP Morgan analyst called it a controversial choice. And insiders at Jefferies said that the designer's move came as a surprise. And it really makes me wonder what the future of Balenciaga will be. That's the next question, of course. Now that Demna is appointed to Gucci, who's going to take his place? Now, you know, all of the fashion community that I've been seeing for the past, like, 24 hours is like Martine Rose at Balenciaga. And the way that, you know, Kering as a brand is so at a weak point. When I tell you Alessandro is getting his life, he is getting his last laugh. Okay. You girls thought you were so cute that you could do things without me. Let me see you do it. Oh, surprise, surprise. You can't, bitch. You couldn't. You couldn't. Demna needs to take a break. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, everybody is being spun out, hoard out, if you ask me. And you know, there's only so much of this shaking up before people are just like, it's not so exciting for you to there's only so much shaking up to like surprise us until it no longer becomes a surprise that you shake things up. And now you just seem inconsistent. You seem consistently inconsistent. You sound so Whitney coded. Whitney Houston or Whitney whom? Um, there's only so much of that you can do until you seem just really inconsistent. Y'all saw what happened with Blue Marine, and I really wish that thank you. I really wish that the industry would take note to what happened with Blue Marine, because that was so short, so brief, but so telling. You know what I mean? They let that designer come in try to revive the brand after it was kind of a dud and real quiet on that side for years, for decades even. And then for him to come with this really bombastic Y2K moment, and we're all feeding into it, and we've got the social media going crazy. Y2K is super trendy right now. So you jumping on the trend, it's working, it's everything, it's everywhere. Everybody loves it. It's so hot until we done seen this Y2K a bit. We've seen it a couple seasons. We're getting a little bored. What else you got? Oh, wait, you decided to wrap your entire brand around one trend, around the 2000s, the Y2K movement at that? You decided to wrap your entire brand ideology around that? And you thought that that was gonna stick? You didn't think the girls were going to want to get over the Y2K thing. You didn't think that there were so many other places that people could get that type of thing for really competitive pricing and quality. Really bad on their part. And sure enough, this is what we're seeing kind of transfer over to the Gucci and Balenciaga situation. I feel like he could have developed it further. I do too. I think when we were discussing, the downfall of Blue Marine under their recent creative director, it was like there were so many other avenues that he could have taken it. I feel like there were so many other niches within the Y2K kind of culture that he could have explored, but it all just turned into the same old Mary Kate and Ashley, like frou frou, whatever. Albeit in the last season, it got into this really like Joan of Arc warrior type thing, but not the last season, because that's when he did the Angels, and that's when you knew, girl. If you didn't know the ship was sinking now, this is your time to jump. Get the fuck up out of there. Hi, welcome to the people who are joining the Yungfleur Live Space. I'm Yungfleur. We are live talking about all of this fashion news, child. Please give your boy a thumbs up. It's free, and I very much appreciate it. I mean, David Coma is doing the same thing too. He is. He certainly is. But David Coma has a certain level of direction where it's not so on the nose about the Y2K thing. And I feel like it can develop a little bit more. And also is a bit more adaptable to different age groups as well. I feel like the Blue Marine stuff was so young. But yeah, so to cap off the situation with Gucci and Demna and Balenciaga, um, I think that figuring out a way to make his kind of viral nature make sense for something that feels not as fleeting and not just as as hot as the last Instagram post, but really something that is of substance and really something that is sustainable. Demna is really going to have to get in his bag about where within his like shocking his ability to shock people is he able to find some sort of a spark that really engages with the people but still has some growing power, some staying power, some lasting power. You know what I mean? Something that is just as bombastic as it is evergreen. And so that really is the challenge there. No doubt will he make some pieces that people want to talk about. The hype factor is there. And I think that that is what Gucci is really banking on right now, or Kering is really banking on right now. But it's also going to have to be about something that people don't just get tired of you showing your ass every minute, because then you just become that girl who wants to flash her ass at every party. And eventually it gets boring. You know what I mean? Like, especially at a time now where everybody's flashing their ass. Like, girl, you don't have to give us something different. What do y'all think? What do you see for Demna at Gucci? Do you think that that's gonna take off? Do you think that that's gonna do well? What are we speculating? Let's get into our analyst bag. And also, what do we think is going to happen with Balenciaga? Once again, everybody's saying Martine Rose at Balenciaga, and maybe, as desperate as they are, they will lean directly into, what everyone to their left and to their right is saying. Are we seeing it for Demna at Gucci? Do we think it's going to take off? I mean, we've gotten a taste of what it could give with that Gucci Balenciaga collaboration, I just don't see it. Just don't see it. I mean, I really do think that a lot of good commercial products are going to come out of this, but I don't know. I don't know what it means for, investors being confident in the brand. I don't know what it means for, you know, consumers in general buying into it. Like, I just don't know. I'm not really the most optimistic about it, but I mean, Demna and what he does at Balenciaga, for the most part, like I do. There are definitely things about his work that I love, and definitely in the beginning, let's talk about Demna. Let's talk about Demna because in the beginning at Balenciaga, I feel like there definitely was a stride that he had hit. Really fun stuff. I mean, granted, a lot of the stuff that we're seeing, once again, the knife boots and some of the dress silhouettes were directly from what we had seen at Vetements, but it eventually devolved into this thing, and then something about that campaign scandal with the children being involved and these insinuations of pedophilia, where he kind of removed himself from everything and fake removed himself from like the celeb culture that was like, the biggest weapon at his arsenal, the way he could tap into celeb culture with the brand like no one else. um and then eventually he kind of pulled away from the thing slightly. And then we had that comeback collection with the trench coats that we saw that was like, according to him, quote unquote, him tapping into his first loves, the things that he enjoyed about fashion, the things that he enjoyed about clothing, and really like revisiting that. And from there, I feel like things just started to dwindle. Like the excitement, the fun getcha gotcha-ness of Balenciaga fashion started to really get more and more predictable and regular and traditional, but not really, the way that he was kind of flipping and inverting things just didn't feel as novel as it used to, right? It's going to be some good pieces, I feel like. You're feeling optimistic about it, Milo? And then once we got to this last collection, where he's talking about, I feel like we're missing urgency in fashion. So that's what he was speaking to in the collection. I was just like, baby, give us a suit with some holes in it. Like you wearing a suit or showing us a suit or quote unquote your standard of things. And I'm just like, what funny foreshadowing for Demna at Gucci for his last collection to be quote unquote his definition of all of these things, of what his idea of what fashion is. And we get a tattered suit, we get a wrinkly suit, we get, uh asymmetrical zips on a sweater, on a pullover. I mean, I guess, like, what are we gonna do with that? And then of course he also stripped away all of the quirkiness, all of the camp energy that he had injected into past collections was completely gone. There was nothing viral about it. There was nothing to go crazy over about it. Like, it really got depressing. And I'm wondering if this was just part of him being like, yo, this ship has sailed. I'm done with the Balenciaga thing. So girl, here you go. Y'all take this. I'll catch y'all later. Catch me at Gucci. I'll see you at the next show. Like, it just felt like and also for us to not know that this was going to be his last season, it was such a cop out. It just felt like such a weak ending to his era. Like, what do we have? Like, what do we have to say about this era of Balenciaga decades from now, when they write books about this era? Will this be something that we really look on as being something really full of, cultural importance and impact? Will we see this as a time of great design? Both of those things do not have to be tied to each other. You know what I mean? We could get great clothes, but really you not being relevant on the mainstream. We could get tons of hype and mainstream visibility without clothes that are really compelling or saying anything to move fashion forward. That last collection gave me a hot air balloon. It really, I mean, it really was such a sad, really low, really like It was a sad way to go out. That last collection, yeah. Um, but yeah, we'll see. I really, I'm hoping that Kering is desperate enough to, and let me not, that's not speaking on Martine's work. That's more speaking on this unexpected musical chairs where we don't even know who's gonna pull up. I'm hoping that we get the right woman at the house and get Martine to really turn things up. People were talking about Martine going to Louis Vuitton, like, yeah, sure, but listen, I think Balenciaga could be a place where she could really shake things up and even transition over Demna's penchant for recontextualizing traditional pieces and traditional systems and giving them new life and at least a new way to look at them. That's really Martine's like strength when it comes to her design. So I'm really hoping that they lean in and put old girl at the house, because who else is going to be there right now? Everybody else is being shopped around to every other house, it feels like, if they're not already like, firmly seated where they're at. But we'll see. We'll see. Aside from that, Pharrell's still there, child. You know Pharrell's still there. Doing what? I don't know. I was just walking past Bowery the other day on my lunch break, and I saw that he's doing like a Moe collaboration. I mean, it's LVMH, so it makes sense. Like, the girls are just getting a bag. The girls are getting a bag, and a bag is getting got, and it begins there and it ends there. And we, the consumers, well, not necessarily me, because I ain't got no funds to be behind under this shit anyway. Okay. If we're keeping it all the way real, all the way real. I'm not buying a damn thing. I wasn't buying Sabato's Gucci. I didn't buy Alessandro's Gucci. I didn't buy and I'm probably not gonna buy Demna's either. I'm sorry to say. But let's move into another brand, shall we? Across the pond, still in Milan, you know, Donatella Versace has stepped down after almost 30 years. And it's not worth it. After almost 30 years of being the chief creative officer, the CCO, okay, Ms. Donatella herself, of the famed Italian brand, um, Donatella is stepping down. Now, woo, finally, not finally. But I understand and I share y'all's sentiments. Like, it's been a while of her being there. Some hits and a lot of misses in between, and just a lot of fighting to keep the brand itself and that legacy alive. And finally, she's now stepping down, and there is a designer, Dario Vitali, who is now going to be the chief creative officer. And in the meantime, Donatella is not stepping away from the brand completely. Of course, this is the brand that her brother founded, so it would only make sense that she would stick around. And she will now be the chief brand officer. And according to what I've been seeing in the news, this means that she will have a focus on Versace's philanthropic work and their charities. Sorry, my homegirl called. As usual. Oh, look at this photo of me, y'all. Don't I look cute? This was me today. My friend saw me in Chinatown and he got a photo of me in my little fit. I'm giving a little bit. It's giving. It's giving. You see the outfit, bitch. I can't wait till it gets warmer outside. But yes, what kind of laptop am I using? I am using a MacBook. Thank you, friend. Thank you. I was trying to give a little vibe. I love this fit. Like, the denim jacket and the bomber jacket on top is like my vibe. I live for it. It looks so hot and sexy. And then I had my little oversized pant, which has been unraveling more and more. Like, like the hem undid itself, but it's all good. Do I use a MacBook Air or Pro? I use a MacBook Air, sweetheart. Yeah, it's an Air. It's an Air. It's one of their more. I think it's the most recent model, actually, because I got this. I got this within. I haven't had this even for a full year. I need to get one. Yeah, yeah. The MacBook Airs eat. Like, this is fire. Like, this is my work laptop, but I would definitely get one personally for myself solo. But yes, so Dario Vitale will be taking over. And just so y'all know, Dario Vitale started off as he was not started off, but more recently he was the design director at Miu Miu, really in charge of branding there, and handling the women's wear, and worked of course really closely with Miuccia Prada, our Miss Prada, the Don Diva. Um, and Also, I'm reading here about about him working with Fabio Zambernardi, who is that the CEO? Oh, he was the design director as well for Miu Miu and Prada, until November 2002. Um, and he left his role in 2023. He left the Prada group. This is Fabio Zambernardi I'm talking about. He was design director for Miu Miu and Prada since November 2002, and he stayed there till 2023. And he departed after the spring 2024 collection. Um, and not for nothing, according to the Kimbino, people are saying that Fabio Zambernardi was gonna be Sabato's replacement. I need to get one. Do you do video editing on it? I do. I do a bit of editing on this here, and it's been pretty smooth. Honestly, I've had no complaints with this MacBook since I got it. But yeah. Oh, okay. So when Raf came over and was working directly with Muccia, they gave Fabio the boot. That's sad. But yes, so now Dario is coming over with that energy. And of course, we've seen Miu Miu doing so well. And if we've been paying attention to the fashion news, the fashion business news, Prada is getting ready to tuck Versace under her wing. You know what I mean? Put her in her bag, and pump and add them to the Prada group. I'm pretty sure it's gonna land. I wonder how that will translate because Miu Miu is more cutesy and quirky. Versace gives more sleek, sexy. I hope he will pull good designs to bring Versace back. Um, Fabio was there for decades. Yes. You know, the thing is that Versace really was struggling to figure out how to really modernize themselves, and Donatella herself, like, I don't think she really had a grip on what people want today. We definitely got some fun shows, and I would even chalk that up to her PR team, but with the people in charge of marketing and branding. But as far as the clothing itself, there was a lot of like revisiting the archives, trying to relive the glory days and all of that, bringing back out Jennifer Lopez and that damn dress. Lord have mercy. I'm praying that Dario ain't got to pull that damn look out for at least the first 4 or 5 years, if he lasts that long. Yeah, but I think there is still a cutesiness and a quirkiness to Versace that I think that Dario can tell you. Said he won't last. He won't last for 4 or 5 years. But I think there is a cuteness and a quirkiness that Dario could tap into. The same way that Prada is known for kind of going back into their own archives and revisiting their own designs. Versace, that's very much their thing as well. They love to revisit prints. They love to revisit silhouettes every other season. And so I feel like that kind of system is something that Dario can inherit pretty easy. Versace is ugly, no shade. I have maybe I'm speaking from a partial place because I've always loved Versace. I may have not necessarily been proud to say that out loud, but I've always been like in love with Versace and their gaudiness and their way of kind of doing things. Even when the brand wasn't at its hottest, like as a young person, like when I was in college, I would literally walk past the Versace mansion, like the not mansion, the Versace flagship in Soho on a regular basis. Like I would get up super early in the morning just to walk down Fifth Avenue, breakfast at Tiffany style, and I would always stop right in front of the Versace store and look at the silver plaque and look at the Greco-Roman inspired architecture and the lines that would frame the front of the store. Like, that is just burned into my memory. And now that it's been vacated, and more recently became a spot for Skims to promote their pop-up, you know, I think that all of this undoing and all of this like ending that's happening at Versace really lends itself to be a place to spark reinvention and almost give us a clean slate. The prints are barf, ciao. It really is. The prints are just too loud for me. I don't know. I personally live for the prints, and not for nothing, the people live for the prints. There is public appeal to those prints. It's just, I think the designs just got super just out of whack and out of touch. Just as a thing to preface for y'all, I did just like a bit of a write-up of, you know, the history of the brand once, you know, Donatella took over. So so let's talk about it. Late 90s to early, the brand is dying. People aren't living for it that much. Come on. Yeah, look, okay. Late 90s to early 2000s. Gianni had passed. Versace was facing significant challenges, from declining sales to mounting debt, which I think was already a thing before he left, and something that Donatella basically took on as she decided to helm the brand kind of like instantly. The company's revenues dropped from over $1 billion in 1996 to less than half of that by the late 2000s. Girl, it was a tough time. And honestly, part of that, I feel like Gianni was the one. Like, Gianni Versace was Versace. So, you know, losing him from that equation, like in the same way that like Olivier is the superstar, he's the main character. Like, he powers what we know to be Balmain. Tom Ford powered what we knew to be Gucci and what we know to be Tom Ford until recently. Like, he is so much a part of the brand that to lose him, you lose a lot of the support. You lose a lot of the fandom that was following his lead specifically, and not Donatella's. So Donatella, as the sister and also the muse of the brand, as Gianni would say, she did the commendable and honorable thing of trying to keep the brand within the family. Now we move on to the mid to late 2000s, and there was a lot of restructuring going on, a lot of trying to refocus the business, and their operations to stop hemorrhaging the funds and also figure out how they could hit a spark, kind of like Gianni's heyday, because they had not had a hit since. And, you know, of course, excuse me, around that time, Donatella was dealing with her own issues, with her own addictions, with her own issues that were forcing her to really have to take a step back to also pay attention to her own health and her own, you know, her own ability to sustain herself after his passing. Like, at the end of the day, this is a sister who lost her brother, as much as it's, you know, a woman who lost her business partner, or the person who was in charge of the brand that she worked for. Child, she got into her things and stuff, you know, she the girl liked to party. But through some restructuring efforts, which included streamlining product lines and reducing staff, Versace returned to profitability in 2008. However, the global financial crisis that we faced around that time led to nearly a 50 million euro operating loss in 2009. They were losing coin out the ass, girl. They couldn't help themselves. So many holes, they couldn't plug them faster than they could create themselves. By the 2010s, the brand rebounded, with revenues reaching 668 million euros in 2017, marking a 16.9% increase from the previous year. Now, 2010s was one of the best periods for Versace that they had experienced since Donatella had taken over. Now, why is that? Let us remember. Do we all remember? Do we all remember the collab? Do we all remember the H&M collab? That was a pivotal moment in the Versace brand in saving basically what they're facing now. Yes, it was the celebrity moments. It was that came afterwards, like the Lady Gaga. But even before that, I really think that what they did with that H&M collaboration was really crucial to turning the brand around, because one, it educated the brand, it educated consumers, especially younger consumers, especially, of course, consumers in general that could not afford Versace, because Versace be expensive as hell to this day. I'm like, maybe if y'all lower the price on a pair of shoes, like, come on. That shit, their stuff is hella overpriced. Their stuff is so overpriced to me. But anyway, that Versace H&M collab was such a turning point for the brand, because it informed, you know, consumers and the younger consumers about the brand. It really expanded their fan base and allowed people to kind of engage with the brand in a way that they hadn't been able to before. And of course, the celeb power around it also helped. I mean, Versace was really, in their heyday, one of the trailblazers when it came to merging fashion and celebrity culture in modern day. Like, they really set the tone for what that looks like. And not for nothing, a lot of the brands today are following in the footsteps that they had set forth, which makes it even sadder now when you think about where they're at. Let me pull up. So let's talk about the rebound. Let's talk about the rebound, because that rebound was really something that saved, like I said before, that really procrastinated or stalled off, you know, what we're facing now. So a few different things happened. Refocusing on the brand's core identity. So once again, revisiting those archives, which was something that they had been doing before, but I think was, you know, a moment that also, in addition to the other things, the other tactics that were taken, also helped propel the brand out of, you know, this dark age that it had faced. The celebrity endorsements and the pop culture influence. So once again, we had the revisiting of Jennifer Lopez's 2000s Grammy dress that went viral again in about 2019. They even spun it out into a full collection based off of the Jennifer. I was just like, yo, make it stop. In addition to that, moments with Gaga, they had the Lady Gaga for Versace moment, they had Rihanna for Versace moment, they had Beyonce for Versace. Expansion into accessories and footwear. They really got onto like sneakers that were blowing up. A lot of these sneaker collabs, these shoe collabs, these bag collabs specifically, collaborating with different artists. I remember there was this one dancer. Oh, do y'all remember this one shoe that they did? I think was that not the shoe? I feel like they did it with 2 Chainz, or somewhere along the lines, 2 Chainz became a part of the promo for it. But there was a Versace sneaker that had like a chain link at the bottom. The chain reaction sneaker. Yeah, that one had a lot of appeal on the streets. Shout out to a Black king. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly. I believe it's Salehi Bembury, who was in charge of their footwear and was really hitting of these shoes that the streets loved, that the Black community loved. Okay, let's not forget that the Black dollar definitely had something to do with it. The fact that all of these prints and these logos and the sneakers, all a part of what I think really lends itself to Black American fashion. And even outside of that, the Africans were loving the Versace babe. The Africans in Italy were loving the Versace girl. Like, and then eventually it caught on. Like, I feel like the Asian community as well. In China, they were buying it up. The logo mania of it all was just so appealing. Like, let's not sleep on that Black king. He did his big one with the shoe designs, and that's why he went on to do what he did with Crocs and with wherever he's working now. I can't think of it off the top of my head. And so, of course, handbags, accessories, those are always the buy-in for brands and the way that they're able to get, everyone else to buy into it. People may not necessarily go up for ready to wear as much as they will go for accessories and handbags and things that people get a lot more wear out of. And also, of course, you combine that logo mania. Everybody loves a status moment. Like, yeah, I'm out here with my little Versace. Yeah, you already know that became a thing all on the streets. You couldn't escape Versace at a brunch, at your local brunch, babe. Versace would be on the menu. It would be on the toe, on the bag, on the shirt. You know what I mean? A Versace silk shirt was like on every scamming ass nigga on the block. You know what I mean? So once again, the streetwear, the luxury streetwear vibe, they really kind of bought into that luxury streetwear at a time when it was getting really popular and really starting to define itself. And they really were merging worlds with that. They were merging with streetwear icons, streetwear purveyors, people that were really putting things on the map and melding into that culture. And I think that really was one of the smartest things that they did at that time, like really seeing where culture is and finding where they can inject the Versace brand. Now, getting more into the finance of things, in 2014, Blackstone, the big fucking corporate heavyweight Blackstone, acquired a 20% stake in Versace. And with that, they injected their capital into expanding retail stores. They boosted digital operations. So there was a lot more that we were seeing on the digital front and really trying to boost up their e-com service, and a restructuring of the business as well, as a result of that. Once again, the logomania trend, when that hit, they were right there because they had already been there for the trend before, things went into this more minimalist place. Excuse me. You know what I mean? Like once things started to go more minimal, they were already still about that logomania. And while that wasn't necessary, that kind of shot them in the foot when people were leaning for something that was a lot less of this super over the top gaudy action that some love from Versace. Once the pendulum swung back and the trends got right back into a maximalism phase, Versace was ready to meet people where they were at. They were waiting on the people at the door, okay? With all of the extra Medusas and the this and the Greek keys and the folding leaves and the gold this and the gilded this, like they were ready. And so that was kind of like a coincidence, but not. They were already ready with what the trend was leaning into because it was already a part of the brand's DNA. And so these efforts led to a lot of financial growth. By 2017, their revenues were reaching 668 million euros, y'all. And this was shortly before the brand was sold to Capri Holdings in 2018. Capri Holdings, also known previously as Michael Kors Inc., right? And they changed their name once they acquired Versace because, I mean, who wants to hear that Versace is owned by a Michael Kors? That don't even sound right on paper. That's not cute. That's just nasty. So they went ahead and changed their name to Capri Holdings and tried to really like rebrand Capri Holdings, the Michael Kors group, tried to rebrand themselves as something a little bit more elevated, a little bit more posh, And unfortunately, Capri Holdings was trying to build a conglomerate of their own by joining all of these different brands, these other American brands, like Coach and like Kate Spade and like Stuart Weitzman, Jimmy Choo, all of these other brands. They were trying to merge them all together into this one, conglomerate that would have been competitive with their European counterparts, like the LVMH and the Kering. But unfortunately, the American FTC was like, "Yeah, we ain't jacking none of that, babe. That's not happening. You're not doing that." And as you can see, like immediately after that, that joining together of powers was shut down by the FTC, immediately everything went to shit. Everything went to shit. Everything. Because I think they were really banking on being able to make that happen and make that merge successfully. Unfortunately, the FCC was like, that's you're creating a monopoly. You're making it hard for the girls to buy luxury bags. I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. Like, FCC, please. Y'all don't, please. Like, everything was so whatever. But immediately after that, it was like Stuart Weitzman is continuing to go down. And Versace, is kind of left hanging in the balance because I think they were really hoping that merge between Capri Holdings and Tapestry was going to be able to generate some new cash flow and allow them to really continue to restructure and expand the business. But sadly, yeah, the FTC said, no, girl, it's not going down like that, baby. The girls still need their affordable bags. I'm like, take your ass down to the TJ Maxx and the Burlington Coat Factory if you're so concerned about a motherfucking affordable bag. That's why we've got the Walmart Birkin being a whole conversation now. Not this. So, where does that leave things now? Dario is he's left Miu Miu to head over to Versace. The Prada Group is looking at acquiring Versace anyway, which means that Dario is basically about to be back where he fucking started, back under the Prada Group. And Donatella is focusing on the charities, like, as she should. Yeah, the style just got to a place where it was so, like, I feel like the last few Versace shows just became about the way things were put together. The pieces by themselves were not exciting. Like, I don't think that they were things that could stand alone strong, in a store, in a retail front. What do y'all think? Do you think that this is a good move? Do you think that Dario has what it takes to bring the brand together, bring Versace back up? Do you think that Versace is done? Do you think that they've kind of did all that they could do and they need to consider closing the thing down? What do y'all think? I'm just like, let my girl Donatella rest with her new face, and just live life. My girl is 69 years old. And so here's what Donatella said about it. And I'm reading from Forbes, an article written by Nadia Sayej or Sayej. Donatella said, championing the next generation of designers has always been important to me. I'm thrilled that Dario Vitale will be joining us and excited to see Versace through new eyes. I want to thank my incredible design team. You know what? I should say it like her. Her new face is cuter. I need to say, like, I want to thank my incredible design team and all the employees at Versace that I have had the privilege of working with over the 3 decades. It has been the greatest honor of my life to carry on my brother Gianni's legacy. He was a true genius, but I hope I have some of his spirit and tenacity. In my new role as Chief Brand Ambassador, I will remain Versace's most passionate supporter. Versace is in my DNA and always in my heart. Okay, girl. Well, I guess. Y'all know I tore that. I'm not even gonna ask y'all. I don't even need no opinions from the group. Okay, I know I ate that up. And let's see what Dario has to say about the thing. And by the way, he's going to be taking over in April. And he has previous experience working with D Squared for a year and Bottega Veneta as well. Um, just as a overview, I'm getting this from Business Insider, written by Milan Sembi. The article is called "Donatella Versace is stepping down as creative director of Versace." Here's what we know about her successor, Dario Vitale. So he joined Miu Miu in 2010 as fashion designer and became the ready-to-wear design director. Miu Miu saw impressive growth with his help. It grew 97.3% in the last year. Miu Miu been taking the cake, babes. It's consistently been named the top brand for recent years, becoming a major trendsetter in everything from ballet flats to underwear as outerwear and the viral micro mini skirt that y'all would not let me see the end of. Uh, Miu Miu has also been a major factor in helping its parent company, Prada, avoid the luxury slump. Miu Miu is really the breadwinner for the Prada group. Make no mistakes about that. Vitale has remained relatively under the radar compared with his Versace predecessor, having confirmed his latest career move in the bio of his Instagram account, which has 0 posts. Okay. And like I said before, like he's not a superstar designer. Like he's been pivotal in raising the stock of Miu Miu, as we can see. But he's never like we did not know Dario Vitale, or I mean, unless you were like in the things and knew the names and the people who like the movers and shakers. But to the public face, no one knows a Dario Vitale until just now. This is the first that we're learning of this name and of this person that has been, you know, such a key part of Miu Miu's success. On Thursday, Versace CEO Emmanuel Ginsberger said Vitale is a rare talent who deeply respects the essences and values of Versace. I don't know what that means when he hasn't even put out a collection yet, but okay. His experience and vision will bring a new perspective to the brand, sure. Addressing his new role, Vitale said, "I am truly honored to join Versace as the chief creative officer and be a part of this special and powerful fashion luxury house created by Gianni and Donatella. The house of Versace has a unique heritage that has spanned decades and has shaped the history of fashion." True, 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 true. He says, "It is a privilege to contribute to the future growth of Versace and its global impact through my vision, expertise, and dedication." So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Dario definitely shows some promise, um, in the fact that he's, you know, created such great work. And I think I don't know, y'all tell me what you think, right? But I feel like compared to Gucci, I don't think that Versace is as desperate for a superstar designer as Gucci would be. Um, yes, Donatella is the face of the Versace brand. We know her, we see Versace, but I don't know so much so that people are gonna be so pressed for I don't know that they're gonna be so pressed for someone to be as known as Donatella was, because like what was she really like? Nobody wants to dress like Donatella Versace. We know the the Versace brand to be super tacky, and also like she's been there for a while. And that and I don't think people necessarily follow the Donatella archetype aside from like what she did with being like tall, thin, and blonde. Like nobody necessarily wants, you know, to be a Versace girl outside of that. And I feel like that era that they had with the streetwear, the luxury streetwear has also slipped by. Like now, I think they really were benefiting off of, not for nothing, the hip hop culture and the black culture when it comes to them leaning onto streetwear, quote unquote, icons. And now that they've kind of gone away from that really logomania, hip hop inflected aesthetic, and they're leaning back into this like classic Versace, whatever that means, and trying to harp on that. Like, no one cares for it. You can bring the supers out all you want. You can have them walk all day and all night. You can have as many girls do a duo twin strut together all you like. It's not enough. What the hell is Allegra doing? Babe, I don't know what she's doing. But ain't nobody checking for that girl. Like I said in my Instagram, like no shade, like I don't think I don't think anyone is concerned about what Allegra has to do with any of this stuff. I hope she all right. I hope she good wherever she's at. But I don't know that like we are looking at Allegra to take over and do anything business wise. I think let that lady, tend to herself. Tend to herself, yes. But it is sad. Like I was saying on my story, like everything in me would love for Donatella or the Versace family in general to be continuing their legacy in house and in the family. I feel like that's such an Italian brand thing to do, that like to just like keep it all within the family. Like I think about like a Missoni before they even went and found someone else to take over and handle creative direction, and that person is out. Last I checked, that person got the boot not too long ago. Um, but yeah, I mean, everything in me would love for Donatella Versace to continue the legacy, but everything in me also knows that there's no way that that would make sense. Like it just couldn't be her. They needed something new. They needed a new direction. They needed a new chapter. And so as sad as it is to see, them getting ready to enter their era without, someone that's really close to Gianni leading the charge, this could be exactly what they need. Like that exact thing that I'm going to miss, I think could be exactly what they need to turn things around. The bright side is Prada might buy it. Sure, but I mean, Prada also has to inherit all their debts and all their challenges as well. So it's not, this isn't just a walk in the park. Like there's a lot of groundwork to cover and a lot of things to clean up before, they can really hit a stride. But who knows? Who knows? Dario's been doing such great work with Miu Miu. Like maybe he's got the chops to really take the Versace vocabulary and turn it into something that feels new and feels refreshing and feels like this kind of breath of fresh air that people are like, finally, like this is the Versace we've been wanting to see. This is the Versace that speaks to us. This is the Versace woman or man or person of today. Like absolutely. So we'll see. We'll see. That would make me happy that Prada buy it. I just think like, we got to see those first 2 or 3 collections from him after he's had his time and made his entrance. Apparently in February, Versace dropped 15% compared to the previous year. And the CEO of Capri Holdings, John Idle, said it was because of the move toward quiet luxury and fewer entry-level price goods as a reason for the dip. Yeah, they don't do the entry-level pricing. I really think that Versace is just hella expensive. And they need to kick that shit and give people a bit more of a wider range, frankly. I'm sure there are plenty of people that want to buy into the Versace, but they literally cannot. They got to fix their pricing system and how all of that is varied out for sure. I think it's got to be more than just the bags and some of the shoes and a Dua Lipa campaign collaboration or whatever. And even that's gone kaput and wasn't enough to save things. Very expensive undertakings, very expensive sacrifices being made. But and they're thinking he's gonna bring a new perspective to the brand. So we'll see, right? I don't know. And lastly, as we talk about shakeups, as we talk about the shakeups, I believe Jill Sander also recently appointed a new creative director, who is Mr. Simone Bellotti, who previously worked at Bally and at Gucci, more recently Bally. And he was named creative director um, very recently. Have y'all been reading into that? Have you been reading into the Jill Sander situation? Only the Brave is the group that owns them, and they were the ones that made the appointment and made the announcement as well. And with his appointment, this also ushers in or signals the exit of Luke and Lucy Meyer, who were the duo that was designing for Jill Sander up until recently. Now, Simone Bellotti, he had taken over at Bally after Ruigi Villasenor was designing over there. Ruigi, who was the designer for his own brand Rude, if we recall, and then he went to Bally, and that shit was not, girl. That shit was not hitting. People did not care. The people did not care about Ruigi over there. It just did not connect. So as Renzo Rosso, chairman of Only the Brave, or OTB Group, said, Simone embarks on this journey with extensive experience and a distinct talent. Over the time spent together, we shared the strategic vision and mission for Jill Sander, the values of innovation and sophistication that make it an iconic and unique brand. Now, you know, Renzo Rosso, he's definitely a very smart businessman. He is the person that is responsible, once again, for John Galliano at Margiela. He is responsible for Glenn Martin at Diesel, and he represents like a host of brands that are really the type that march to the beat of their own drum, and proudly so. Let's see more news on this. His arrival, and we're talking about Simone again, comes at a time of changes at Jill Sander. I'm reading out of WWD, by the way. This is an article called "What Does Simone Bellotti Bring to Jill Sander?" Written by Luisa Zargani. And what did he say? What did she say? Last month, Serge Brunschwig, previously chairman and chief executive officer of Fendi, exited the company last May, and parent LVMH in February was named. Last month, who exited was named. Okay, so Serge Brunschwig, who was previously the chairman and CEO of Fendi, who exited last May, and left parent LVMH in February, was named CEO of Jill Sander, succeeding Luca Locurcio, and chief strategy officer of Only the Brave. Simone Bellotti, he joined Bally in October 2022, and this was after spending 16 years at Gucci. And previously, before that, he held a senior design position at Dolce & Gabbana, as well as Bottega Veneta, and as well as Gianfranco Ferré back in the day. So this is kind of his pedigree. Boasting an experience in both ready-to-wear tailoring and accessories, the latter category being Bally's core business. Of course, the shoes and the leather goods are the center of Bally's sales. He also had a stint at AF Van der Vorst, which is a brand I love. And yeah, since his first collection was presented in September 2023, Simone has gotten nothing but, you know, good news and good positive responses. What he's known for is adding a bit of, from what they say, irreverent and whimsical twists to sober and tailored suits and trenches, like the tiny cowbells referencing the Swiss heritage of the brand, or his diving into the country's folk stories for fall 2024. Art and design have been key inspirations for the eloquent and thoughtful designer. And in just a few seasons, Bellotti has conceived a precise and successful silhouette for Bally, which includes the peplum tops, the sculptural dresses, and rigorously tailored suits, at times offset also by his romantic touch, gelling with the style of Jill Sander. Favoring unexpected twists, he has shown sober, tailored suits disrupted by sprouts of pink or lime green shearling, or short, taffeta dresses peeking under his severe leather coats. At Bali, he emphasized the Swiss heritage of the brand with gossamer dresses recalling spring mountain flora, also reproduced on a faded rose print on fine cashmere knits. His skills with accessories were key at Bali, where he brought in the slim pedestal heel, or the lace-up scribe, which is elevated on a block heel, bright colors, um, and once again, they have the CEO, Serge Brunschwig, who was doing his thing at Fendi. And so they're really feeling like there's going to be a development in the accessories sector for Jill Sander with his arrival. Um, And just so y'all know, Jill Sander used to be a group, a brand owned by the Prada Group, until it was acquired by Change Capital Partners in February 2006, and then was later sold to Japan's Onward Holdings 2 years later. So currently, Jill Sander is owned by a Japanese group, Onward Holdings, as of 2018. I don't know. I don't know a lot about Simone on his own, but I have heard the positive response to his ballet era, and we have yet to see what will come from that. So we gonna see where that goes, child. I don't know much about it, but Simone, is it Simone? Child, whatever. I don't see the accent. So you be the one to you be the judge. But what do we think about Simone Bellotti coming to Jill Sander? I don't really have any opinions because I don't really know mans like that. But I do want to do a little bit more research. And so we'll see. We'll see what comes from that. We will see. We shall see. I really don't know. But that's just the scoop for y'all right now with the fashion news. Keep in mind, we still have yet to hear who is taking over Balenciaga in Demna's place. We still have yet to hear who's taking over for Mugler in Casey Cadwaller's place. Um, well, interesting stuff. But we'll see as time comes where these appointments will land. And if Martine will make it to Balenciaga, child, here's hoping. I have a strong feeling it'll work out. I don't know. I just feel like these brands be trying to be so stubborn. I feel like they're finally realizing, like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. So maybe we gotta try something else. Let's see what the people are saying, what the consumers are asking for, right? Maybe that's a good place to start, possibly. Who knows? But until then, I will keep y'all posted, of course, and let you know the latest. And we will be chatting about it in the Yungfleur Garden Live chat, which is my private DM. Y'all already know what it is. I think it's like the people who are here, y'all know what the garden chat is. But I'm going to take off for now. This was cute. This is a cute little moment. I'm so glad to get off of the red carpet talk and the fashion week talk. But what I plan to do in the month coming is do a really deep dive into what we've been seeing from all the cities for Fashion Week. So that we can just get a refresher. You know what I mean? It's been so much, so many shows, so much news, so many carpets, so many different awards and events and things just being thrown at us to try and distract us and keep our attention. Um, that it's so hard to really keep track of everything that we saw in the past month, right? So you know I got you covered. I love a good slow fashion moment, at least as far as I'm concerned. So I will be back around to give us a proper recap of all of the things. Until then, hit me on the DMs, hit me here on YouTube. Please go ahead and share the YouTube with your people and let them know to follow. We are at 70. I'm trying to get to 100 like in the next month or so. So we're gonna be hauling ass, girl. But I thank y'all so much for joining tonight, pulling up, giving me your energy, giving me your commentary, and let's see what's gonna happen. Let's see. I'll be around to keep you posted. All right. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Be well. Thank you so much. Love you much. Take care. Good night.